Yep.
Awesome. All right. Welcome everybody. Sorry to be a couple minutes late. I was having some technical difficulties on this end. Oh, but I'm so excited. Like Thursday nights are just always something to look forward to in my household because I just love getting to hop on here with you ladies. And it's even more fun when I get to be on here with beautiful friends of mine, which I'm so honored to get to be friends with Patricia. She's such a blessing. I know a lot of you in this group already know Patricia. Veals. We go to church together, girl. Just I feel like I'm gonna get emotional. Just
Oh yeah, you're gonna make me
we're criers. We're both criers. But we met a couple years ago in a small group through our church, and it just, she just has such a heart for people, such a heart for Jesus, and such a heart for people to know Jesus. And I just love that so much about her. She's an awesome prayer warrior. Y'all probably remember seeing her. She was actually one of our prayer warriors on our prayer train that we did when all of the COVID stuff started and we had the National Day of Prayer. So she's not totally new here, but I'm excited you're going to get to hear more from her tonight. So Patricia, if you want to start, just kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and we're going to go into our message for tonight.
Okay, awesome. So I'm Patricia Veals. I live in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I am originally from Seattle, so I'm a huge Seahawks fan. I am married to Kenny, and we have two beautiful children. We have Malachi, who is 5.5, who is going into kindergarten. So my mama heart has been so heavy with that. I have Celia, who's 2.5, and she is our firecracker. She is very strong-willed, just like her mother. So I think it's funny that God gave me a girl because he gave me somebody that is exactly like me. So my children and Miriam's children are actually the exact same age, so it's actually perfect. They play really well together, so we have that in common. And so yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Yeah. And everybody got to see your beautiful kids. Actually, the picture, because I put the family picture of you guys up. And earlier today, Bristol saw it on my phone because the kids love going through my pictures. And so it was in my camera roll. And she's like, Malachi, Malachi. Like she loves Malachi. So cute. Yeah. It's so fun. Like they're the same ages and everything. And so we've had a lot of fun. Just letting them get together. We need to do it more. We are doing it more. But I think just because we've lived further away. But so ladies, tonight I am going to be also looking at my phone because I do want to see if y'all have any comments or anything like that. Hey Lisa, hey Sherry, hey Jackie. So some of our sweet friends are on already. And y'all feel free. I'm going to be going back and forth, and like I said, to the phone to see what comments you have or any questions. But guys, so it's interesting because we've had this Psalm study going, right? And a month, if not more, before we started the Psalm series, I reached out to several friends asking them if a certain Psalm spoke to them and would they come on and talk about it. And so Patricia was one, and this just happened to be the week that she had her Psalm. And, we were talking a little bit last night and just like, Miriam, with everything that's happening right now, like, I just feel led like we need to do something a little bit different. And I was feeling that too. And so we really didn't have time to rehearse anything. Like, honestly, she and I individually have just been praying. And I reached out to Sherry even today, Sherry, thank you so much. I know you're watching, for your sweet, sweet words. I just took them to heart so much. But, we just really wanted to just release love and talk about the Psalms still, talk about scripture, but talk about like, what do we do with all that? What do we remember in this time right now? What are the truths that we can stand on? Because we can all get on social media and honestly feel deflated and not feel good and get off of our seat or forget that God is on his seat. And so, Patricia, if we can just kind of kick off maybe with just telling us a little bit about like, what does that look like in your home right now, and what questions are coming up, and what's keeping you seated, girl? Because through the uncertainty or fear and feelings, you know, you're always so good at just staying rooted in the Lord. And so just tell us a little bit about that.
So, I know Miriam posted a picture of my beautiful family. So obviously my husband is African American. And so we have been together since October 18th, 2002. So a very long time, 18 years. And through those years, I always said I never saw color. And I didn't. I was so attracted to my husband. I'm so in love with him. I never saw color. That wasn't an issue. Well, when we had my son is highly intelligent. He asks all these questions, just different things. And we played I Spy one time, and he said, I spy something brown. And we were like, oh, what is it? You know, we're looking outside, couldn't figure out tree trunks, dirt. And then he starts laughing, he goes, it's daddy. And so in that moment, I realized my son sees color, but what he doesn't see is hate. He loves his daddy no matter what color his daddy is. And in that moment, I just realized that, you know, from his eyes, children are so innocent. They see these colors, and like I said, they don't see hate. And so we've really instilled in him that God made everybody different, but everybody is so unique and amazing, and we embrace that. And a verse that's really, really getting me through this, and I might cry when I read it. It kind of backs that up. So it's Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. He created him in the image of God. He created them male and female. And so this verse is what I've really tried to instill in Malachi, is that no matter how God made people, whether they have straight hair, curly hair, whether they're, you know, brown, white, yellow, anything, we're going to love them the same because they're different, but they're all the same because they were made in the image of God. And so with everything going on right now, this is really, really not even, you know, in my house, but just a really backup for everything that's going on. So.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. For sure. And I love what you said. Like, I feel like that should just be like a one liner. It's like, yes, like the kids, they see color, but they don't see hate, you know? And, there's so many verses. Like we were actually exchanging verses, and I have, seriously guys, like there's no way I can even go through all of them. I have 2 Bibles out, sticky notes everywhere, you know, the notebook with the verses, but did want to share a couple. And actually, I'll be honest, like I was talking to Patricia, and like I said, I texted Sherry earlier today because I have felt a little bit confused, like just being completely honest, just feeling a little bit like at a loss for words. And anybody that knows me knows like I'm never at a loss for words. And so in coming to just like talk about this, or, you know, like what does that look like? And I felt like I was almost just kind of in my head a little bit, you know, like I don't know what to say, you know, and I was like, I don't feel like I understand everything. And then it was interesting because I really just prayed, and I was like, I just want this to be whatever God wants it to be, you know? And it was interesting because like a personal story came up for me that I really felt like it was just a little memory, and I didn't think too much of it, something that happened years ago. And then all of a sudden I just thought about it in the last couple of days, and I told a friend about it. And again, I still didn't think anything of it when I shared it with her, but she texted me later and was like, I'm really, really sorry that that happened to you. And I'm sorry, like I didn't invite you to share more of that. And I was like, oh girl, it's all good. Like I'm over it. But then it made me think on it some more. And so most of you already know, I've talked on here before, you know, my dad is from the Middle East. And so some of you might know my maiden name. My maiden name is Abu Krabi. It was like really long, a lot of letters, you know, hyphen in there and everything. And And I remember growing up and like getting a lot of comments and, things like that. And like, granted, I don't think anyone ever knew what I was. They're like, you look different. Like, are you Italian? Are you like, what are you? Um, but what really hit was when my husband and I were getting married, and we started doing some international travel. We got married in Jamaica, and then a couple months later we had gone to Mexico for like a rewards trip and stuff. And so at that time, my maiden name was still on all of my paperwork. Well, when I was getting on the international flights, I can count for at least 3 times where I'm going through and like I'm with some family members on my mom's side, who are like Dutch and have like an easy last name. Okay. Um, and, um, and then my husband, whose last name is Albert, which is easy, right? But at the time, mine still said Abu Khrabi. And I remember, there were at least 3 times I would go up like through, the customs or whatever, and I would have to go into a separate room. And my name would be highlighted on a list, okay, boarding the plane. And I just remember feeling like uncomfortable at that time. And I was like, what the heck? This is kind of frustrating. Like, I was born in the US and like I'm like, I don't even speak Arabic. Yeah, like I mean, and so but I just remember that feeling of feeling different and feeling like I'm being judged. I'm being judged and I'm not even known, you know? Like, it was just this outsider feeling. Um, and I kind of, like I said, I just kind of forgot about it. And it's like God just brought it back to my memory. And it's not for that, because I'm good and He's so good and I'm good with it now. But I wanted to share it because I want to share what He told me instead. Because when I would hold on to that, at that point, I really started to kind of just believe this lie. We go through experiences in our life, and it could be our own experiences, or it can be things that were even passed down through us from generations before us, right? But I remember just because of that situationally, starting to believe this lie that I was a little bit of an outsider. I was a little bit weird. There was like a piece of me that didn't quite belong. Um, and I would feel that way even going into church, like even just a couple years ago, y'all, like probably up until last year, honestly, when I started to try to face more of those things head on and just ask, like, God, how do you see me? Like, I know all the verses people say, like, He's no respecter of persons. I know all the things, but I wasn't believing it here. I wasn't believing it here. And I just remember like that song, in my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. And I want to show you guys, it's Psalm, oh no, hold on. Isaiah 43, 1-4. Let me pull it up. There are so many, but this is one in particular that really, really just stood out to me. And it says, but now listen to the Lord who created you, the one who formed you, says, do not be afraid, for I have ransomed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. And like just that point, like y'all, like anybody watching this, like please let that sink in. I have called you by name. Every single person that is listening, you are mine. Like, it does not matter even who our earthly father is. Okay. Like, we are His. We are His. You are mine. When you go through deep waters, I will be with you. When you go through rivers of difficulty, you will not drown. When you walk through the fire of oppression, you will not be burned up. The flames will not consume you. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I gave Egypt as a ransom for your freedom. I gave Ethiopia and Seba in your place. Others were given in exchange for you. I traded their lives for you because you are precious to me. You are honored and I love you. And so, I just want to share that if there's anybody that you've ever felt different for any reason at all, or you felt like you don't fully belong, remember of, His definition of us, it is not based on our hair color, our height, our size, where we were born, our skin color, our ethnicity, none of it. Like there's nowhere in here that says he defines us by any of those things. We are defined because we are his. That is plain and simple. Did you want to say anything from there, Patricia? I kind of felt like
that was amazing. That was, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Honestly, one of my favorite verses. So, and the whole passage, but yeah, absolutely. And we kind of talked about that earlier of that was a small glimpse of what a feeling like you were on the outside, you know. And so there's so many people right now that are always feeling that, but
right.
and I can, it's justifiable, but we want to remind them that we love them just the same because we are all children of God and we are all part of his kingdom. We are all his children.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm checking in real quick just to see if there's any questions. Hey, Joy. Hey, Marty. Hey, Vicky. Hey, Susu, my sister. Hey, Kathy. Okay, I know that you had another verse too that really spoke to you that you were like, if I don't say anything else, I'm saying this verse. So
yes, it is 2 Corinthians 13:11. I told Miriam, I was like, I don't care if I read any other verses. I've been, I told her I have a whole list in my phone of all these verses that I'm like, okay, that's really speaking to me. That's really speaking to me. But this one has really, really, really spoken to me. And I don't know what version everybody has. So I'm going to read the ESV version. I have a study Bible here, but I think I like the ESV. I'm going to read that one first. So it says, finally, brothers, rejoice, aim for restoration, comfort one another, agree with one another, live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you. 2 Corinthians 13:11. And that's the ESV version. It wasn't by chance that this was my week to talk to Miriam. Like you said, we've had this plan for a month and a half. I was like, I'm doing Psalm 30. I don't know why, but it's just what God spoke to me. And I was studying at the time and it was perfect. And just, me really laying out my heart to Miriam, like with everything going on. So everything just worked perfect. But this verse right here, kind of, with Miriam's group being about peace, we want to live in peace with everybody. But we can't live with peace with everybody unless we live with peace with God. And so this really spoke to me, and that's why I wanted to share it too. So honestly, the Holy Spirit just led me to read that to y'all. So
definitely. And like you said, just the God of love and peace will be with you. Because everything that I kept like kind of sensing for tonight was love and peace, and I actually, that was not one of the verses that I had down. So when you said it, we were like, oh yeah, that's yes, for sure. There was, and just with love, like, I think one of the questions that so many of us are asking ourselves right now is like, or I'll speak for myself. Let me just speak for myself here. And then I'll ask you the same thing. So it's like, for me, I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want to just be silent. I know God's in control. It's just been a lot of that has been floating through my mind. And so, I was like, the words are great and the words are so important. And his word is like really where all of our help comes from, right? But, I was like, what is application? Like, what does it look like to where we have these feelings that come up, yet we know we are to be rooted in love. We know we are to be rooted in peace. We know ultimately that fear is one of the biggest tactics of the enemy, and that this isn't a fight between people, just like it never is. I can't remember what Bible verse that is, but maybe you do. I don't know. But it's not a flesh and blood. It's always spiritual. And so love is of the Father and fear is of the enemy. And so, what does that application look like? That's kind of where I was trying to look in the word. Like, what does the application look like being seated, in him, and not operating from a place of fear? Because I can go to fear real quick every time I turn social media on. And I know if I feel like that, there are people who feel it 100 times more than I can even imagine. And let's see, I'm looking back and seeing.
I think the verse that you were thinking of was Ephesians, is it 6:12? For our
Uh,
struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers of the darkness, against evil spiritual forces in the heavens.
that's right.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's so easy right now to get on social media and to be pointing fingers and to be, just like, or making it about, politics, or making it about this or that and these agendas and these agendas. And we have to remember at the end of the day that it is always, it's never about flesh and blood. And so how do we fight that? Like, but coming from a place of love. Do you have any thoughts or anything you want to say around that?
For me personally, just being on social media, it starts making me angry.
Yeah.
It honestly, I'm past the hurt. My husband actually voiced concerns to me this week for the first time ever. I didn't know he felt that way, and it broke my heart that he was worried. And so I've really had to just really pray and stay grounded in the Lord. And the Lord's just really spoken to me and has been like, because there's a lot of posts that are very, very verbal. And before I post anything, and actually anything that I've posted about it, I want it to come from the Lord. And so I've just really, almost all my posts have been Bible verses, because I want it to be what the Lord is telling me, not
Yeah.
what people are, but what the Lord. And honestly, the more I've prayed about it, the more the Lord has kind of been like, look, you can stand up for me, but you can also, this might be a way for people to hear about me that haven't
Oh,
before.
that's so good, girl.
So,
Say that again. That was so good.
my promise and Kenny's promise to our kids was the Great Commission. Um, and so that's what we live by. That's what we've always tried to live by for our kids. And as I've been praying through this, it's like the Lord is really using us, and he's really making us live it out in front of our kids. So that's kind of
That
that's what
is,
we're doing. And I think it's admirable of you, because like you said, you don't know if you're going to say the right thing. It's kind of, you just don't know, but you using your platform and just pouring out your heart, I think is huge. I know you talked about like, going out, you have children and everything like that, but just you having this platform and being able for us to have this discussion is huge, and it's making a difference. And I think the second thing is, if you feel like you can't change things, you can. And honestly, it starts in your home. It starts with teaching your children that, I guess like what I'm teaching Malachi right now is that everybody's made in God's image. And I feel like if we start with the younger generation, that generation is going to grow up and make the change.
yeah.
And our change might not look huge, but if we're changing the younger generation, the bigger picture is going to be absolutely amazing for his kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love what you said. And that's what, one of the things I love so much about you is that, you know, you do always see like, how can this be used? How can this be used? Because sometimes people get so angry. We don't always want to go there. Like, we want to just be mad and we just want to, act out of our feelings.
Right.
And while we should feel the way that we feel, like, we do have to ask ourselves, like, what are we to do that is going to be constructive? And I love that your first question is not even just that, but how can I use this to point people to him? Like, imagine if we all were doing that, how powerful that would be. And I just love that so much about you. I saw again, there's just so many verses, and then I'll share something else. And if there's something else that, you want to add on top of that, but it was Hosea 12:6. And let me pull it up in here. Oh boy, I thought I put a sticky note in it. and it's gone. Oh shoot. Hold on one second. My Bible tabs are like coming out. Oh, here we go. Okay. I put the sticky note on it, but I put it like, which did I say? Was it 12?
I can pull up the Bible app too. I have a regular
You probably do it faster. So I put my sticky note in it, but I put my sticky note down there so it wasn't up here. Hello. Okay. Anyways, okay. So Hosea 12:6, and it says, so now come back to your God, act with love and justice. And so first thing I take from that, if we're asking ourselves, what's the application here? What can we do? Because I was tired of getting hung up on what do I say, or what do you want me to do? And not what everyone else wants me to do. What do you want me to do? You know? And I saw that and it was like, number one, maybe I do need to get off social media and get in here and like go to him, you know, go to him, come back to God. Second is act with love. And that's really like what we both felt so much around, was like just to be about love, you know, act with love and justice. And then the third is always depend on him, always depend on him. And, you know, when we looked through the Psalms, seriously, I could put in the comments that Psalm 9:7, Psalm 10:17, Psalm 33, Psalm 36. I mean, there are tons and tons of Psalms that basically all say they're referring to the king on his throne, how he is enthroned. Over and over, you just hear he is on the throne, he is on the throne. And what it says is the throne, the foundation of that throne is righteousness and justice. And so if he is seated and he's way more powerful than we are, we put our dependence on him. We go back to him. And what do? We love. We love. Absolutely. We love, right? And we depend on him, that he sees everything that's happening and he's at work. And I really do believe that that is the best thing that we can do, is not just use our words. They are powerful, but in the actions. And when I thought about that in terms of Jesus, you probably, you know, Nikki from church, she posted a great video the other day that asked some questions, like about not asking the question, what would Jesus do, but what did he do? Like, I'm saying, you know, what did he already do? Not what would he do? What did he do? And I thought about that. And she talks about, you know, he went to people that were like the other people, right? Like what I was saying, like feeling like an other. And the more and more that I like prayed about that and thought about it, it like hit me. It's like Jesus went to people, not that he saw as different, but that everyone else saw as different. Mm-hmm. But he went out of love, not because he saw them different, but earthly wise, or certain rules, or in certain, you know, whatever might have seemed different for a sin they had committed, or for what they look like, or whatever, right? But I feel like his invitation was love there. Like, it was to go to people who through earthly eyes seem different, but really to show them that you're not different. Yeah, I see you. Yeah. And we get to do that. We get to do that. Yeah. Was there anything else that you wanted to add on?
I was going to say, I know you touched on a couple Psalms, but touching on that verse that you just shared, Psalm 33:5, he loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of the Lord's unfailing love. Yeah.
Yeah. So good. So good. I was trying to see here. Oh, thank you, Sherry, so much for putting in the scripture references, and we'll go back and we can put those scripture references into. So guys, as we're thinking about, you know, what can we do first, like, I just want to tell everybody, you are seen, you are loved, that in him, like in this place, we are one. We're not defined by anything other than the fact that we are his. That's it. That is the definition of who we are. wanted to say that, but then also, just remember, like, that's our job. Go to him when you're feeling tired from all those things on social media. Replay this, I don't know, or go put on your worship music. Like, go turn to him. Like, you know, just shut it down. Like, shut down social media if you need to. Like, when it's time. And just act out of love. Like, if you feel pulled to somebody, let people know, I see you. Even if you think that you're different, I see you the way he sees you, and you're not different. You're not different, and I love you. I wanted to close with, I was telling Patricia, this is a love declaration. Oh, it's by Mike Parsons. I actually got this. Most of you know that I'm also on the Oaks Rising team, the Oaks Rising ministry. You can check them out at oaksrising.org. It's a beautiful freedom ministry. And something that they did was they did a love declaration. And it's just so beautiful. If you've heard the song, The Blessing, it's just something that you just get to receive. Okay. It's not really a prayer. It's just a declaration that I just want to read out loud, and you just receive it and just soak it all in. But before I do, I just wanted to ask Patricia if there was anything else on your heart that you wanted to share before I close this out with that.
I don't think so. Well, I want to thank you, Miriam, just allowing me to come on tonight and just like really speak from my heart. I honestly, because I think we hung out, was it Saturday? And I kind of was feeling the Lord pulling on my heart then, was like, maybe I can talk to Miriam. I know I'm supposed to speak on Psalm 30, but I think that I want to kind of change it up and everything. And as the week kind of went through, I really felt the Lord pulling on my heartstrings. I just really thank you for using your platform and allowing us to have this conversation, because these conversations aren't happening right now. That's part of the issue. They're not happening. People just don't want to dig deep. They don't want to have these difficult conversations, and just you allowing us to have this conversation and, using what the Lord is wanting us to get from this, so I just want to thank you for that.
I thank you so much, girl. I love you so much. Seriously, I'm like, you're like the first time I'm like, we're both gonna just end up crying after all. But seriously, like, I cherish you so much, and just your vulnerability and your transparency, and just like I said, just the love that you have and the love that you want to put on others is so obvious, just the way you carry yourself. And I just love that about you. And so thank you. Thank you for coming on. And thank you for still wanting to stick with it, because I know there were times that you maybe questioned if you were up for it, and so
it's been a long day, so I was very exhausted, but
yeah.
we had some extra energy tonight. So.
Yeah. So thank you for that, because I know, like, everything you said is such a blessing, and I can't wait for the especially the particular people that are meant to hear it. There's always a message that will come from you that won't be the same coming from me or anybody else's voice, because your voice is yours. So I love you. All right, y'all. So I'm going to close out with this love declaration. I did wanted to see if there were any more questions. Yes. And Sherry, thank you. Sherry, you're such a rock star for just like posting and engaging with everybody. Yes, y'all, if you have any questions or anything that you want to share, like, we wanted this to be a place that was like, you can express and you can be like, okay, but what can I do? And how do we take this to the Lord? And so I feel like I'm glad we had this conversation tonight, for sure. And just invite anybody else that wants to use their voice in that way to do so. Okay. So love declaration. So you can, if you want to, close your eyes, but just receive these words. All right. And again, this is by Mike Parsons. I'll post it up for us too. So I release the frequency of love. I release love from my inmost being as a wave. I release love into the room. I release love into my home and love towards every member of my family and household. I release love into my street and in my community. I release love into my town. I release a wave of love over my nation. Yes, Lord. Love to everyone confined in their home. Love to everyone that's needing to be out. And love to everyone on the front line of care and support. And I'll just add to that, because this was really written through COVID, but just love to everyone that is living in a place of fear and uncertainty. And I release love to the whole earth, to all humanity, and I saturate the atmosphere with love, joy, and peace. All right, ladies. Thank y'all so much. Love you guys. Love you girls. That's why I have one little bit of New Jersey coming out, the you guys part. But seriously, love you ladies. Just remember, you're seen, you are known, you are loved. And the best thing we can do for one another right now is to just go and be a light and go love everybody. All right. So thanks, Patricia, again for being on. We'll do our Southern bye where we just keep saying bye over and over and over. All right, everybody have a great night and a really good weekend. Okay. Love y'all. Bye.